The thing that I miss the most is just this ritual of getting ready. You know, you meet up with your teammates, they get on the bus, you're talking about the games. It kind of comes really fast. You arrive at the stadium. You just hear like the crowd. Even nowadays, after playing League of Legends for like 6-7 years professionally, when I walk onto the stage, like you're a little bit anxious and you're a little bit like, okay guys, like it's actually going on now. Right now it's like, it's in a sense do or die, right?
I've been waiting.
I really love that feeling.
I've been waiting for this moment all my life, but it's not quite right.
Last year, I had experience play on stage without fans. It was still good, but it was not enough.
And this real is impossible, if possible, and whose blind word so clearly so unheard.
When I won in front of the crowd, I feel like everyone is on our side. It feels like we're together. So I missed it.
I've been waiting for the silence all night long. It's just a matter of time.
Last spring when we won, it didn't really feel too great. We won at home for the first time of any split. That was my first split ever winning in the LCS, and we were kind of like robbed of an experience. When you win NA, your reward is to go to MSI, you know? Kind of just lost our chance to go, and I really want to win this spring split so that we're able to go this year.
I've been in finals 5 times, and when the confetti is coming down, I was sadly on the, loser side. If you lose in the finals, like you made it all the way, and then to come and fall short, that feels bad, right? But if you lose 2-3, but it's like a close game, and then falling short, that's like really heartbreaking, crushing in the moment. I really want to make it this time again to the finals and really win it, because I've never won it all before, and that would be my dream.
100 Thieves are cut to pieces. Double kill over the power of evil, and TSM is on the victory mark. Cloud9, they can finish going to this one. Nice time to backline, and this is over. Goes to the flash red line. CoreJJ here in the front line now. The damage coming down.
Always CoreJJ. It's always CoreJJ.
For me, it's been a long day to get a trophy. We won the Lucky tournament, but I want to win the LCS, and I want to make sure this year is ours. I want to make sure people remember 2021 Team Liquid was dominant team. So this is our second step.
Team Liquid, 3-1, take them down. CoreJJ has had enough of this. TSM will defeat 100 Thieves for a shot.
They've done it, Flowers. They knock them all down.
Cloud9 takes down Team Liquid.
Cloud9 in the winner's bracket final. What a rebuttal from them.
One of the best feelings of winning is looking at your opponents, sad that they lost. It feels good to know that you've come out on top. When there are a lot of people watching you, the stakes are high, and you're in this big stage, a lot of players choke. Being able to separate some players from others is what the stage is really meant for. And I can't wait to play on it again.
Everything we have been through and I've been through, the hard times, the losses, the heartbreaking finals that I've lost before, I think everything was worth it. We are so close again. I'm sure we can make it and we can, win it all. I've been playing this entire split for that moment now.
I've been waiting for this moment.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the mid-season showdown delivered by Grubhub. I am Freak. That man is Kobe, and while we may be far apart physically, we're close in spirit. It's the closest we've been in a very long time, Kobe. We are thrilled to be back in the studio for the rematch between TSM and Team Liquid here in our lower bracket finals. And this series is a little extra hype since we will see their second installment of our storied support showdown today on the Rift.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at the bottom lane, both parts of it. Let's start with Sword Art versus Core JJ, though, because these are two world's caliber supports whose teams both rely heavily upon them for playmaking and for shot calling in game. They are the paramount leaders of the LCS, and they've gone back and forth, creating a very fun rivalry thus far. Core JJ calling out Sword Art after their loss, and Sword Art responding with some trash talk of his own. You know, you only won Worlds, Core JJ, during the Ardent Sensor meta. That one stings. He also mentioned Core JJ often calling jungle support to the bottom side of the map. If they do that today, it will be a different jungler. Armeo will be responding to those calls rather than Santorin, so a little bit of a switch there. Moving on to their partners, though. The Young Guns, these AD carries, tactical as well as Lost. Two AD carries with the same origins on TSM Academy. And Tactical, he was raised up and sent off first, transferred over to Team Liquid, where he had a breakout performance. Rookie of the year for him, with big performances in both playoffs under pressure as well as at Worlds. But in 2021, he slumped. And he certainly slumped hard here for Team Liquid. If he truly is going to be that next great North American talent that everyone was thinking he is going to be last year, then what matters is how you pull yourself out of that slump. He's got that chance here versus TSM, an elimination game in playoffs. You need to go onto that stage with poise.
Yes.
You need to perform under pressure. Lost, on the other hand, he replaced him on TSM Academy. He has yet to really make his name feared and make the TSM bottom lane feared. So this is his chance to do that.
I mean, Lost at least had the play of the split. We had that vote up on Twitter, so that's good. I got to be part of that call as well. Maybe he will change his name.
Well done.
Yeah, it was good stuff. So, of course, we will see the story of the bot lane play out in a little bit. On the Rift, though, we got to talk about TSM Spica sharing some of his thoughts ahead of their series today. Let's take a look.
Thank you so much, Dash. I am so happy to be joined by TSM Spica ahead of your match. You bear the burden of defending TSM's title. How do you plan on taking down Team Liquid today?
Yeah, since we lost to TL in the first round, we've been preparing really hard, and I think we've improved on a lot of mistakes that led to TL winning against us. So, you know, I think we've been improving our early game, we've been improving our mid game as well. I think that's like mostly why we lost to TL. So we've been preparing about those things, and I think going to TL, it'll be a much more competitive match.
And since then, you've gotten to compete more through the lower bracket, which some can look at as a positive in terms of building that momentum. You obviously are very familiar with that from your experience last year. How is it like having to prepare for the match you have ahead, but also thinking about the possibility of C9 down the line?
Definitely right now, I think just take it step by step. I think that's the mentality you need to have. Just we're going to focus on TL, and if we do win, we also have a lot of things that, you know, we want to try against C9. We have strategies prepared, so I think right now we're just focusing on TL, beating them, and then going to the finals.
One thing that I found very curious to hear in a TSM Legends episode was from you. It was before the 100 Thieves match where you were talking about feeling like you're either all in or not when it comes to your performance in playoffs. You're either getting all the smite steals or you ain't getting none of them. We've seen quite a few from you so far. Do you feel like you are on and in the zone when it comes to this playoff run?
I feel like it's a bit harder to get in the zone since, you know, it's like quarantine. There's like a lot of other external factors, but I think, you know, playing on stage definitely gives you a more energetic feel. And I think just playing on, you know, in person, on LAN, your opponent's like right next to you, I think I'll be able to get in the zone.
Yeah, it's so exciting, Spica. We are here in front of the Greek. Is it going to be a TSM win?
I mean, of course it is.
All right, Spica's a believer. Thank you so much for coming by for this interview. And with that, we're going to go back to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, the Tigers. It's always good to get thoughts from our players ahead of the series, especially from the veteran on that TSM roster in Spica. However, last night we received some unfortunate news from Santorin. He tweeted out, "Super disappointed to say that I won't be starting tomorrow due to health reasons. I'm thankful Armeo is there to play on my behalf. It's frustrating to potentially miss out on such important games, but I'm doing everything I can to hopefully be ready to play second game onwards tomorrow. Now, of course, we are sending our best wishes to Santorin on his health, but for now, Armeo is in. What can Team Liquid, though, do to stabilize in this kind of a situation, Hai?
Well, for Team Liquid, they have a bunch of veteran players on their roster that are able to guide the newer jungler. He's not like a rookie by any means. Like, he's played on stage before. He's played on Academy. They've been doing it really well, except for the most recent game. But despite that, they've been doing well. So I think as long as the veterans are there to help guide him onto what to do, they'll be okay.
Yeah, I agree. And look, obviously, it's disappointing that Santorin can't play, but TL fans, don't panic. Armeo, he had a 7-2 split with TL Academy. He won a tournament with TL Academy in March, and he actually beat TSM in lock-in with this exact roster. So obviously, a lot has changed since then, but this guy has played on TSM before. He's played with TL before, so I wouldn't be too worried about him choking under pressure.
Yeah. It always comes down to, for me, the question of like what this team has actually been doing. Because like now the week, it seems, from the tweet that we've saw, like what the practice has looked like. What I would love to see is going towards an Udyr, a Hecarim, something like that, where it's a very straightforward win condition that they can play around. That's what I would love to see. I love the fact that Armeo has been like a top 3 jungler within Academy and has performed, as you said, in Northern Arena. I just want to see it pan out today.
Yeah, I mean, I love the point, too, that while we may have received the news just last night, Santorin made clear in the tweet that he's been bedridden for a few days. And so to your point there, Armeo has been with the squad. It's not so last minute, of course, while not ideal. But I think now the conversation then returns, Primal, to the side of Spica and TSM. The matchup for him as well changes within 24 hours. He may have been very well expecting to go up to against Santorin until this point. So let's talk about him.
Yeah, and he's probably, to be honest, breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief. But there's still pressure on him, right? Because I think overall he's been really consistent. He's been really clutch. But he's also been a player where there are moments where he gets caught out a little bit, where, you know, he's invading Gromp and the enemy team's not there to support him, and it costs him a little bit. But overall, the number of Barons this guy has stolen in a split, the performances that he had in the series against 100 Thieves, where he was up there for Player of Series with Huni, means that this is a rock for TSM and someone they can really count on overall.
Yeah, and for the full split up until this point, TSM's done a good job playing through Spica. It's something that I've loved seeing, that when you have this confidence in a player like him, to, as you mentioned, there are moments, there are blips in the radars where those mess ups happen, but it's far less frequent. And he's looked like a shining star in the regular season. So it's something that I like to see, especially in this matchup where initially the goal was going up against Santorin, and Santorin is far more facilitating jungler. Now going up against Armeo, like you said, it's actually much easier in the sense that you know you're going up against a jungler who's supposed to be supporting lanes. You're going to get a lot of resources. Punish that. I want to see that from Spica.
Right, and I think just the thing is that when you have a sub jungler, they're probably not going to be dictating the team. I don't know Santorin's role in the team, but I'm sure he had a vocal voice in the early game, as most junglers do. Mm-hmm. I wonder if Armeo will have that same voice coming into this game. I don't think he will personally. I think he'll be more reserved. He'll allow other people to talk and do what they want him to do rather than him doing what he wants to do.
Yeah, maybe a little less command over the overall flow of the game coming from his position. But while the jungle has been a hotly contested role this spring, the loss of Doublelift means that the title of best AD carry in our league is also up for grabs. And of course, while C9 Sven might have the lead so far, I do want to talk about whether or not Lost or Tactical can make a case for themselves this weekend.
Yeah, and Lost, throughout the split, has not been in the conversation because of how well Neo, FBI, the players who've already been kicked out of the tournament. But Lost has been ramping up. This is what I love to see from a player who's been grinding. And this is the moment to be put into that conversation as the best AD carry, with the mantle being, Lost with Doublelift now being done with competitive. Yeah, Lost can have that huge moment like he did with that pentakill earlier this split, and then be just thrusted into the mix.
Right. Something I want to see from Tactical is having a return to glory, return to former play.
Yeah.
It's been interesting, this split, to say, for lack of a better term. So hopefully he's able to play well and bring his A game here. And then for Lost, I feel like his laning phase is kind of weak comparatively to the stronger AD carries like Sven, even Doublelift in the past. AD carries need to be able to assert their dominance in lane. I don't think Lost really does that. So I'd like to see him try and do that here.
Yeah, and to the question of, what's these guys' reputation going into this weekend, and can they change that? The answer is yes. We have 6 to 10 games, and they're the most 6 to 10 important games of the split. So if Tactical goes, gangbusters and is stomping people in lane, and he's straight up carrying games, and he's not jumping in on Triss, I'm happy to talk about a new Tactical who's returned to form. But right now, they clearly are people who are going to be under pressure to perform.
Yeah, Sven may be in the lead in that conversation at the moment, but both of these players will have an opportunity this weekend to change our minds about all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it comes down to the fact that both of them have in their front of the mind what their role and responsibility is be damn good team fighters. Be there when your team needs you. That's what I've seen a little bit from Lost. And I know we've seen that before from Tactical. So it comes down to if your supports are gone, if they're leaving you to go straight mid lane or to defend a top lane dive, and I expect that to happen, play back, play respectfully, know your limits when it comes to those team fights.
Well, as we get a high-level overview of each of the bot laners' statistics over the split, I want to go where you just were headed, to the supports in the lane. The question is, how will they ultimately step up to the plate today? We've talked already about how them as individuals have been willing to call out each other. There is that budding rivalry within the LCS between two of the most internationally, recognized and decorated supports that we have around in Sword Art versus CoreJJ.
And man, am I excited for this. It feels like I've been waiting all split just to see this. When Sword Art was announced to go in towards TSM, these are storied players that have been there. You look towards CoreJJ coming from Samsung a while back, being a world champion, and then being respected as a world-class support for so long. And then you go straight towards Sword Art, who has just come off a Worlds Finals run with Suning in the LPL, going into Worlds. He's been a leader for so long, coming in from Flash Wolves as well, winning multiple championships there. So this is where experience, there's no question about it, about both of these players. And if they see a play mid, they're going there, and the teammates around them are completely confident with the call. You love to see it, and that's what I'm looking towards, this matchup.
Yeah, and I think this matchup is going to be, to a degree, pick dependent. If Sword Art's going to go for Thresh, I want to see CoreJJ pick Nautilus and say straight up, I'm the better support, I'm going to counterpick you, and I'm going to smash you in lane. I see that Hai has a little bit more of a skew toward CoreJJ. I actually want to hear from Hai. Why do you think CoreJJ is that much better?
Well, we take a look at results. He's won a Worlds. Sword Art has not.
Ardent Sensor meta.
All right. You still need to be a proficient player to know when to buy Ardent Sensor.
I know. All right,
I think his mechanics are just better. I've seen Sword Art throughout this split where he has had questionable mechanics throughout the time, whereas I don't see that often with CoreJJ. I don't see him missing hooks. I don't see him doing weird question mark plays where basically I wouldn't question mark ping CoreJJ. I would question mark ping Sword Art at times, and that's it.
Well, so I'm curious. I just want to throw one question back at you. Do you feel like their roles within their teams are the same, or do their different strengths and weaknesses actually speak to what they're meant to do on their opposing sides?
I think for this split, a lot of supports have been kind of playing the same. They pretty much roam when they're able to, whether it be top or whether it be mid, but usually with their jungler to make a play with them. I don't think any support has a different play style than the other right now. It's just who has the better timing and then who has the better mechanics to pull it off is what it is.
And what I'm seeing is different priorities between both those players personally. Like when I see CoreJJ, I think vision control, where he needs to be on the map to set up the team. With Sword Art, he wants to fight. Like TSM is a far more scrappy team than I've seen in the past because around Sword Art, that if he sees a good fight, they're rounding up for it. So I think they have a different focus and priority there.
All right, well, we've broken down the lanes. Now we need to break down your predictions. So tell me, who's taking it home? Who's taking on Cloud9 tomorrow in our grand finals? Raz, you're over here, so you go first.
I've been riding that blue horse for a long time. I've had faith in Team Liquid getting better for a long time, and then I got the news. I checked out Twitter. Look, the biggest fear for me is not the quality of the player, it's the team mentality changing. The roles and responsibility of what is the role of Santorin communicating? I think that change is massive. I'm going TSM with a 3-1.
3-1 is the call there. Wow. So, Hai, I'm going to move along to you.
I was also on the Team Liquid train. I was really excited for them coming into it. I had him at 3-1, but then we got the news that Armeo is coming in. And I was like, I don't think Armeo is a bad player by any means, but I also don't think TSM is a bad team. However, having a sub-jungler in a jungler-focused meta, I had to give it to TSM for this. I gave him 3-2.
A 3-2, so a bit closer of a series, but both of these guys hopping from one train to the other. So Primal, what's the thinking?
Okay, I was on the TL horse, then I boarded the TL train, and I stayed on the train.
Woo!
I think TL, I think they have an advantage top with Alfari. I think they have an advantage mid with Jensen. And I think they have an advantage bot if Tactical shows up this series. Overall, I totally agree. This is a meta where Armail, he can get bullied out. And I think you want to deny picks like Spica on the Udyr where he can bully Armail early game. But so long as TL has planned draft accordingly, I think they'll be able to cover the weaknesses. And they have much better objective control and team fighting usually than TSM.
You know what I'm seeing here, Dash?
What?
He's saying train. I'm seeing a ship. He's a captain of that ship. Ship's going down.
Oh, no.
Hey, all right.
Hey, but you know what? There's some pride to be taken in going down with a ship there, my friend.
A little bit of pride, but you won't be the one
While the rest of y'all abandoned, you took the lifeboat and you ran. This man is going to stay along with
when the ship leaves the harbor, you're gonna. I don't know how you're gonna get to the next country, man. You're kind of trapped here on TSM Island, all right?
I mean, you can be 10 feet underwater.
No. Okay, we'll see.
I do just have one final question. This is kind of the two of you who did make that jump from Team Liquid over to TSM, which is, do you think Spica is uniquely suited to take advantage of the sub situation? Or again, as you mentioned, is it more about the remaining pieces of the squad and maybe the lack of ability that Armail will have to open up the map for Team Liquid?
I think it's a little bit of both. I do think that it's a great matchup that we're seeing a lot of resources go through Spica, and so he can make do with it and recognize that he can challenge the jungle a little bit more. But I think what you're communicating, roles and responsibilities, you're in that moment. It's all happening last minute that these, really last few days, that these changes are happening. I think that is, for me, the biggest factor. Not enough time with players. I've seen worse things happen to a team with insane, in fact, TSM, beginning of split, humongous player names, but they just didn't have the time to mesh together. And I think this is the worst of that situation.
Right. For me, it's just, I don't run into very many junglers that want to be told what to do and are happy doing that. Now, they might do that to Armail, and he might be happy with that, but Santorin probably had a game plan of how he wanted to take objectives, whether it's Dragon, whether it's Rift. He's making his own game plan. He's doing that. Here in the situation, I very much see them being like, hey, Armail, cover my lane. Hey, Armail, let's do Dragon, things like that, telling him what to do. And that dynamic is a lot different because you have to spend time while you're laning and telling someone else how to play their role. Whether that actually needs to happen or not, I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, that dynamic between the jungler and the team is different. How drastic that is, I'm not sure. But I want to say it is a big deal because I believe Santorin was a big voice on their team.
We've heard it all from these three, from top to jungle to mid to the bottom side of the map. The reasons are out there. We've got a couple guys putting weight behind the TSM squad. We've got the faith over here remaining for Team Liquid to pull through. I'll remind everyone that these teams have already met in the mid-season showdown, and it was Team Liquid who ultimately reigned supreme, so it's TSM looking for revenge. All the blood, sweat, and tears for these two teams has to pay off today to keep them alive in our mid-season showdown. So for the first time ever, or not ever, oh my goodness, that would be ridiculous. For the first time in over a year now, it feels like forever.
How long has it been?
It's been quite too long, and I am so happy to be able to do this. I'm sending it over to the LCS studios to Freak and Kobe to get us into the games.
Let's get it.
Thank you, Dash. Hello, everyone. If there is a song for the weekend, it is Lazy Eye from Silver Sun Pickups. If there is a song for the day, it is Future Foe Scenarios, the best on the album, my favorite, by the way. And it's who is going to face Cloud9 tomorrow. That is the question. Who is going to make it to the finals to maybe qualify for MSI against Cloud9? Kobe, are you ready?
I am so ready. I've been jealous watching Dash the last few weeks walk around this beautiful new studio, and now we finally get to be here. I'm super happy, Freak. I, for the first time ever, actually, honestly get to say I'm glad to see you in person. Let's get into Champions Select right here. Immediately, Team Liquid trying to protect our mail with the Nidalee ban. I do like it, as the jungle change is the hottest topic coming into this matchup.
Yes, and it has to be reiterated. I'll probably say it 8 times today. The first time these two teams fought in a best-of-5, it was a couple weeks ago, and Team Liquid won that 3-1. They were the better team. Now 2 weeks have changed. Teams can practice, players can get better, strats can improve, you can learn from your mistakes, but also To your point, Kobe, Armeo is in instead of Santorin. And Santorin is the KDA leader of junglers. He is a strong performer. You can't help but think this is a downgrade, so the question is how well can TL play around that with about a half a week's practice?
And one thing consistently with this matchup is even going into the last time these two teams played off, TSM consistent bans on Twisted Fate because they want to contain some of the early playmaking that Jensen can do. And if Jensen is not on Twisted Fate, then he does not roam nearly as much or have as much side lane priority for Alphari, for Tactical and Core JJ to try and accelerate those two sides of the map that really do like to go for early confrontations and go for the early engage. Here is something that's popping back up from the TSM 100 Thieves series where Huni was blind picking Gnar in the face of Someday. This time around though, Team Liquid have banned out and protected Alphari a little bit with the J-Span. You can still pick assassins into it. Aurelia is definitely highly prioritized, but you're also going to have to play up to that side lane if you want to do a counter pick and actually throw down. Generally, TSM have had more success recently when Huni does not require attention on the top side of the map. Something like Gragas, a little bit more safe up there. So they invest in Spica instead. You know, the veteran now, it feels very weird to say as such a young player on TSM, but they do pick up Hecarim, best jungler, still on the patch with so many options.
And it's honestly a good takeaway from Armeo as well. He was one of the first players to pick up Hecarim this year, back before everyone really realized it. His opening games, the opening weekend of Academy, were a bunch of Hecarim games back when no one realized that you should go Chem Tank and everything else, but would be a comfort champion for Armeo. Otherwise, he's going to be down to the Udyr or the Olaf. He's more likely to play in this one, but keep in mind, we saw Renekton Gnar just last weekend. Fudge completely clapped top lane in Renekton versus Gnar. Now, there was a Nidalee gank from Blabber. Sure, Hecarim is not the same champion, but you're not going to armor stack at level 5. Like, these ganks are still possible. This tower dives are still possible, so I want to see if Huni can play the waves the same way that punished Alphari last week.
It's like we were talking about. It's going to require attention on the top side to make that Renekton pick really worth it. If you don't get an advantage in your Renekton lane versus Gnar, then you come into a problem where later on, after Gnar started to scale up there, then you have a bigger issue. Moving on though, Armeo gets the Udyr. This is something Team Liquid did so frequently with Santorin. Happy to put him on it in response to Hecarim as well specifically. These are two of the most popular, of the, 4 turbo clearing junglers. So there's no big surprise, but very comfortable champion. Very low mechanical execution. So definitely setting him up for some pretty easy execution here. We do get a control mage in Orianna. It is protectable in the next 2 sets of bans here for TSM, so I do like for TSM usually going for Orianna if you are on red side in your 3rd pick, because then you can throw out some counters towards Jensen, who has actually shown Silas, who has actually shown prevalence to play some of these assassin picks, melee champions that want to actually close the distance on Orianna and actually punish her that way.
So you're seeing the Silas bend there. We might see the Syndra as a second one. And you talked about Armeo and a fairly straightforward champion in the Udyr. Looking at what he's done in the Academy scene overall, he is more of a farm-focused jungler. His first blood rate.
Everybody is now.
But even by those standards, right? Like, across the Academy sort of spectrum, even including the Proving Ground grains, like, yeah, he's up in XP, he's on average up in gold, but his first blood is middling to low. Like, he doesn't actually get to the lanes as often as other junglers, even among that pedigree. Whereas you compare to someone like Santorin, who's historically had very high first blood rates, TL's gonna have less jungle pressure. From a player side, like that's how Armeo kind of plays. So there is less pressure in these lanes. When you talk about wanting more pressure top, maybe he can be called up. Again, Gnar Renekton is volatile, but as the Zero's gone back, you can have Syndra come in and TL can try to have a winning mid and, find a way to get a winning top.
Yeah, let's see if Jensen does want to throw it down, as they are going to have to follow up with the bigs. We assume that it is going to be bottom lane picked up here for TSM. Throwing down Sword Art's classic champion, the engage for TSM, Alistar. They need him on a frontline champion. I think it's a great way to open up the series as well. Always a shout out here, Tactical. I love how he's embracing it. All the memes flying around. Again, very high hopes for Tactical as a North American talent. We'll see if he can bounce back from the slump that he has had thus far in 2021. And here's the blind pick, or the counter pick from Jensen. Is it going to be, they don't actually go for kill pressure with the Syndra, is just going to be the Victor, who also does have small advantage over Orianna in lane. Because of the extra lanes with your laser, it is very easy to gain control of the minion wave, as well as look for those harassment opportunities. I know a lot of mid laners actually prefer the Victor side of the Orianna matchup, even though Orianna is still the most picked mid laner in all of competitive play.
Yeah, and Xayah's really the call here. Tristana, you can't really easily rocket jump out of an Alistar engage, and even Hecarim can like time the E well and get you out of it. Xayah is the de facto pick for I don't want to die to an all-in. You ult the Hecarim ulti, you run backwards during it, you're out of range of everyone else, you put the feathers back in, and you're safe every time. So Xayah is everyone's insta-lock. I think it should be anyway. When you see Hecarim in the enemy team, that's your pick. And Team Liquid basically chose with the last picks to match team fighting power. Xayah can team fight against his comp. Victor is a strong team fighting mid when there could have been other options, right? The other assassins out there, the Syndra for more of a lane counter. Team Liquid go, no, 5-on-5 is us. As the last pick comes through, Tristana, obviously some good late game as well from TSM.
Yeah, Xayah definitely is the counter dive AD carry.
Yes.
She is premier at that role. Good lock in there for a tactical. We actually did see it previously in their matchup as well. You want to ult early on, so make sure you're not going to get hit with the combo. Orianna Hecarim, brutal combination. Alistar as well, looking to set up lost here. So TSM definitely investing in some kill pressure for themselves. Let's see if it pays off. They did upset some expectations, even though they lost the series first time around versus Team Liquid. They did have a good early game lead that they were able to acquire early on in the series, and they're looking to do that with this draft here once again.
Yeah, it felt like TSM should have been able to win that series in a lot of those games, and it slipped away from them. So, yeah, got to see what else comes out of this one. Best of 5 here. The players are back on land for many of them. The first time since Worlds. For some of them, the first time in over a year at this point. So that'll be fun to see if there is ever some level of stage jitters. I know from my experience having like my occasional LAN tournament games the last few years, it's like you feel it when you sit down, and then when you load into the game, it kind of goes away, but this can vary per person.
I get super excited until the first mistake, and then, then you start to feel the heat on the back of your neck, Freak. That's what playoffs is all about, that pressure. This is what matters. Elimination set here. TSM versus Team Liquid. Who is going to meet Cloud9 in the finals?
Who is going to take NA? Cloud9 waiting for who is going to win to match them tomorrow. There's only going to be one champion, and they're heading to the mid-season invitational after tomorrow's best of 5. To get there, TSM and Team Liquid must beat one another. Hoping for 3-0, you know, hoping to keep as many strats secret as possible. And then battling again the very, very next day. See if they can do it. Team Liquid, of course, they lost to Cloud9 last weekend. Jat talked about it, said, honestly, I'm hopeful. We'll improve. We're excited about the back-to-back best of 5s. We'll get better. And maybe a spicy level 1, Sword Art walking away.
I know Jat also has always had a lot of confidence, specifically in Armeo as a jungler. He's always been in his corner, always talking him up. And they do have confidence, you know, putting him back in. But of course, this is the biggest story of this rematch, Freak. Because otherwise, if nothing had changed at all, it would be landslide, you know, Team Liquid coming in as favorites. You heard all the analysts talking about it as well. The jungle change here is what makes it interesting. Because even when Armeo was under the moniker of Grig and played on TSM, one of the things that kept him off of the starting roster in TSM was that they kept saying he was performing much better in scrims and not on stage.
Right.
The difference there is what actually kept him back down to a TSM Academy. So what better time to show that you have improved, to show that you have changed over the years than against the old team here, against TSM. And try and get Team Liquid up to those standards.
And if I recall correctly, it's actually the player who replaced him as well, right? TSM Ultimate decided Spica's our man. Sorry, we'll see you later. Have fun in Academy. And, you know, he did. Armeo got second place regular season. The team choked in Proving Grounds, but we're not talking about Academy. We are talking about the mid-season showdown finals coming up in this match right here to qualify them for it. As a quick trade happens in the mid lane, pretty close to CS down there. Alfari. Early lane pressure over Huni. Level 1 Renekton does not do anything against ranged champions, so Alfari is going to get the early lead. We'll see if jungle pressure is going to happen. They're both jungle scores pathing toward top side. The question then becomes, when do they break from their camps and actually gank that lane?
And the thing is with Gnar, if you're able to time your Mega here, then you kind of cover one of the early ward timings. junglers in the Renekton Gnar matchup sometimes actually deviate from full clears, Freak. It's kind of crazy in the current meta for anybody to deviate from a full clear with the power clearing junglers. But with both Hecarim and Udyr, you do have CC available if you do level your E's for either of them. So you can deviate, can go for that early surprise gank and try and upset the matchup. But both junglers this time around clearing very standard full clear up to top side of the map. The #1 priority for Armeo is to get Scuttle Crab and a ward for Alphari. This guy in his isolated matchup versus Huni is supposed to be, on paper, a big advantage for Team Liquid. And he has done so thus far in 2021. It's been a great pickup for them, so worthy of the investment of Just Vision. Then transitioning down to the bottom crab. Spica should be able to finish it quickly. As you see, the bottom lane is getting pushed out by Lost and Sword Art. They are doing their part to set up the jungler. Crabs are definitely a team game here. Freak and Sword Art and Lost set up Spica.
So both junglers basically got to take Crab basically on vision of each other. There's a trinket ward from Power People that decayed up in that top side of the screen, so information was known on both sides, but we're back to the second clears. Now, Spica took his recall, so the very standard 7 camps into Lucidity Boots is every jungler's dream. Virtually all of them make exactly this thing happen. Armeo, though, staying on the map. Again, we talked about he's more of a power clearing player, does not have the boots, does not have any gank pressure at all with the bootsless Udyr, but he'll be up some CS, he'll be up a bit more gold, so at some point when he recalls, maybe after the second clear, he can have a very small advantage cashed in.
And you see Jensen here in the matchup versus Orianna doing just what I talked about. You laser on through the wave, get your wave control, and the level 1 Q even for Victor, before you even put any extra investment into it, provides so much extra trading potential there versus the Orianna. And allows him to be able to push up, get this recall off. Teleport was already used by Power of Evil, so response here from Jensen is able to get his off as well and continue pushing on this wave. Now, still no vision for either side around that mid lane, and second clears are around the time where you start to see more jungler intervention here. You want to kind of get in there. If you're going to influence the lane, you want to do it before level 6, where the mid laners can just turn on the junglers and it gets a bit more scary for you. You can see Armeo here doing his job once again. He's mostly been a protective Udyr so thus far, getting vision for Alphari, standing there, standing watch for Jensen, being that human ward that TSM knows and loves.
All right, so the recall finally comes through, gets him full-plated steel cap, so that is why he went for this build. It is a physical-heavy team on TSM. It's why he went for the 3 extra camps, because that item costs 200, 300 more gold. And so now, against 4 AD, he's like, yeah, we're this one. 3 AD, I guess, really realistically. Ultimately, let's see if it's going to pan out for him, because, hey, less flashes means, your ganks aren't quite as good, but Sword Art is already on his first roam. Control ward put down, already one down there for Jensen, though, means this is not an easy play, but you can knock down the ward. Jensen can play safe. Nice attempt on the roam, but good vision by TL.
Yep, again, just trying to play the opening game of an elimination playoff series a little bit cautiously here. And honestly, I think that is going a bit in the favor of Team Liquid if the caution does pay off. This attempted play as well, that deep ward up by Raptors, scouts out the movement here, so TSM should not be able to get the engage they're looking for.
Yeah, well, they're still fighting over wards as the junglers and supports are here on both sides. Mid laners moving over. Jensen's mana pool not great. Neither is Power of Evils. The trinket ward's not going to do much except hand over 20 gold across the squad.
Crab scramble! I love this mini game. Let's go!
Yeah, well, it could be really tasty. We'll see who's going to get the feast here. As ultimately Spica, yeah, he's going to gallop it backwards and. Well, they're trying to pull it, but it's in the control ward jungle brush, and Armeo cannot smite. Be careful, though. Lost able to rocket jump away. You can, in fact, malfit ult backwards. Good job of Lost to know that one, and that's why he's the better AD carry as far as the analysts are concerned, because he goes multiple directions with that W, so good job.
Well, Tactical won the health trade there, though they did lose the smite attempt there on Crab. It was kind of difficult for Team Liquid, because you could see Jensen was pushed in a bit, and so they were behind maybe a second on mid lane there. First step went to Power of Evil. He helped out into the river, securing that for Spica. So the very, very small margins slightly going in favor there for TSM. But again, opening up with a very, very calm game here. And you can already see Alphari been left alone versus Huni in the Gnar matchup. You get to pelt him with boomerangs. take advantage of your range matchup. When you have full security and knowledge of the enemy jungler, you have your team warding for you, you can trust in Alphari to make the most of these counter matchups.
Yeah, and I gotta say, you know, as much as people say, hey, run, stun, job done, I'm gonna say job done for Armeo. Honestly, you have a matchup that can be volatile, where Renekton can try to force a dive on Gnar, and Alphari has managed to play a 1v1 lane with a 15 CS lead, and that is your jungler keeping the guy just a little bit busy, maybe fighting for a scuttle crab, or, you know, keeping him occupied, you know, looking at mid lane. So it's a good job by TL to let the isolated matchups do their work. 400 gold lead to TL just in laning. That is a positive. That is well played. But Spica is now up here. The sweeper spots the ward. Alphari still feeling safe enough to, yeah, kind of stay in, but walk back when needed.
Has flash as well as the hop available to him. So once they see Sword Art has made his way up, you can see CoreJJ in the mid lane right now, clearing out some of these control wards, but in range of rotating to the Rift Herald. And this is one of the big pivot points that we've talked about a lot over this split. The Rift Herald attempts, where I think it is very, very often not correct to bring up at least just your AD carry. Both teams now leaving their AD carries in the 1v1 towards bottom side. Rift Herald should be an attempt to, okay, here we go.
Big all in for Lost, and Tactical says, I'm going to just disengage against Explosive Charge. I don't want to get Halo Blaze traded. I will never win that one, so nice of him to just run away. Has the move speed, and hey, nice try by Lost, but Tactical plays it out well.
Yeah, roaming right back down. Cautious optimism here for Tactical. One of the biggest things that you were kind of memeing on there earlier as well has been some of the over-aggressive plays, but good caution from him thus far. And we haven't seen, again, any sort of upset. Let's see about this next crab, though. This should be number 3 for TSM, as they've got everybody out here first. CoreJJ actually fully reset Rel back to base, so I'm assuming Team Liquid are going to give up on this one. Alphari's got teleport, so there's a possibility, but it does feel like should go the way of TSM. 3K left on that Rift Herald, and number 1 objective to their side.
Alrighty, picked up, no problem at all. Well played. TSM do, in fact, get the first neutral objective of the game, and that should feel pretty comfortable. It'll most likely roughly equalize the gold game. Team Liquid identifying pretty rapidly what was going on there. They're able to send Udyr down to this side. Now, he is alone, and theoretically Tristana could make his life a little annoying, but it doesn't really matter. He's got a wave to play for, and trading a Drake for a Rift Herald is a reasonable choice. TL don't ultimately lose any farm. We'll see how much the damage that turret take can do, though.
With this wave pushing away from Lost, he does have the safety of both summoners being available and a level 6 on Tristana, so plenty of disengage options. But calling Sword Art back to the lane now. No more roaming games for you. Level 5 Alistar needs to hit his level 6 so that they can open up these possibilities of actually going for the dive. You know, Hecarim, Tristana, Alistar, plenty of kill pressure available with this trio. You know, Ignite and Red Smite both available as well. They would probably be looking at going for the Rel rather than even trying to dive that Xayah, as Tactical with his own ultimate available is very difficult to actually pounce on.
CS lead on the top side, almost 30, plus the turret plate here for Alphari. Can be hard to siege a turret when you're in melee form, but you can throw a couple of rocks at him and maybe attack his minion once in a while. Right now, the ward coverage not outstanding. There's a pretty easy gank path through Tri-Brush that might not give you the time to respond, but bot being pushed in, you know, Noon Quiver is easily done. Save items for both AD carries, not a problem.
Yeah, I'd say I also would, you know, in talking about the calm opening from Team Liquid, one of the changes here, you know, last time when you saw Alphari getting the early lead and getting pressure on top side, made multiple roams towards mid in their series versus Cloud9. And was punished so heavily for it. They were unable to get this big advantage on perks. Alphari himself actually suffered, burning Flash, burning Teleport, then ended up getting ganked on top side. So this time around, a much more cautious use of that lead. It's now being prepped for the dive here with Huni going for the early exchange. If he pushes in his cannon wave, you see Sword Art and PoE heading up over the ward.
Alphari's going to be Mega Gnar. Here we go. How's it going to work in the 1v4? Huni's what's going to end pretty soon. And as he turns Mega, they're like, yeah, we don't easily win this one. What if there's vision? And in fact, there is. And yeah, Team Liquid went over in time. It was just Armeo and CoreJJ. They called, hey, look, we don't know where the jungler is. The support's not in lane anymore. Yeah, 3v4 dive against Mega Gnar, not the best. And so TSM on the first aggressive play they've really made all game. Just get nothing but wasted time. The mid wave's already pushed in. And PoE picking up the scraps in front of his turret.
Yeah, it's getting very, very difficult to actually push through and take advantage of Alfari. Already level 10. He went with the Cull in lane as well because he's going with a more cautious use of his lead. 4 more minions to pop that sucker. Tactical has been able to avoid the all-ins thus far.
Big damage, second rocket jump, not enough to kill. Feathers fly for the attempt at a root. Lost actually going to burn double summoners. I don't think he was going to get rooted or die there, but double summoners out is Lost doing too much. Red invade. Armeo, CoreJJ, same role, 3v3 here. Blast Plant comes in for Spica. Bit of damage towards Sorta, but he walks away, no problem.
Again, Team Liquid very happy with the pace of this game. They've got the Dragon lead, and even though they traded Rift Herald for it, TSM have Rift Herald in hand. There's only 1 more minute left to cash that Rift Herald into turret plates. So Spica's like, all right, we got to get paid. Need to get paid right now for Shelly. Make sure you get some value out of it. If they activate it this close, charge goes off. Guaranteed money to try and make up some of the gold deficit. It's not going to get them there, and they're still facing the Dragon deficit. So Team Liquid very happy with the opening of game number 1 here in the series.
So ultimately, the TSM play got them 420 gold off of the Herald, the 2 plates, the kill itself, and Team Liquid got 50 gold and an actual Ocean Drake stack. It's a pretty close trade. I'd probably favor TL on that one based on how the rest of the game goes, and unfortunate to not see any more than 2 plates taken from a Herald pick. Ultimately, a very safe laning phase, though, for TSM. I don't think Huni got the turret plate gold credit on this one. As Alfari, as you can see the 30-ish 23 CS lead, he's already got 2 plates up there as well. So the gold difference, massive, 1,200 in top lane.
Yep, showing some value there with that Gnar pick once again. It only required, remember, 1 ban on the Jace to protect it as a blind pick. Something that TSM relied very heavily on in their series versus 100 Thieves. And now, Victor's scaling quite nicely here. Level 11 for Jensen. Power of Evil will be very soon to follow as well, though. Both of them online to complete their mythics. Not quite there for Jensen, though. Thought he was going to be able to complete it on his last back. A little bit more farming required. I will say with both teleports available, though, the possibility of one of these explosive plays on bottom side really rises. There is a Tristana now with neither summoner available. Tactical blew them in a defensive manner, but they are still unavailable for loss. So bottom lane definitely could be a target, and we see junglers already kind of getting to that area, doing their work, trying to clear out some of this vision. TSM have such good deep vision, though, throughout the red quadrant of Team Liquid's jungle that they actually saw Armeo on approach.
And they see Armeo right now just going for his Raptors, going to be taking them unperturbed as bottom scuttle goes TSM's way, and the second dragon is alive. Bot pressure and mid pressure, the primary ways this happens. The scuttle obviously helps control to the pit, knows there's no vision either, and Armeo may have no way in to do anything about this, would have to go for a flash smite unless they engage the fight pronto. TSM grouped up, they're going to have their 4th member soon if Orianna walks over, and TL at this point unwilling to fight for it, so TSM off of just a bit of lane pressure really. Just grab the dragon, no problem. Gold difference still 600, but the dragon score is tied.
You also had Alfari's Narbar extinguishing, so he just transformed back into mini, was exhausted. There would be a difference in power in teleports from the top laners if both teams tried to actually commit to that, if Team Liquid made the call. So they opt not to make that risk, just keep Alfari on top side. He's slowly getting advantages here. Stride Breaker is done. Once you have that advantage of the early Stride Breaker complete, this actually just overwhelmingly gets so dangerous for Huni. Anytime Alfari decides to go for this big trade, having the difference of an extra dash attached to a slow gives Gnar that possibility of actually chasing you down. So it requires Sword Art. Once again, visit up to top side. TSM make the full swap. They send Lost up there on Tristana to try and work away on that turret.
And the water tower came in, didn't quite hit Sword Art, but yeah, you saw that turret's at like 400 HP.
Oh.
It's not too hard to stop. Good stride break away. Huni has no extra crowd control. Sword Art's here, but there's no one nearby, so going for Headbutt Pole would just put Aftershock in cooldown and get nothing else done. But because the rotation is first, there's going to be a lot of damage on top turret. It's dead and just a few auto attacks. And that means TSM going to get the 150 bonus gold from getting first turret of the game. Well done. That's cash in hand. Now it is split amongst everybody, but the 150 gold difference is not massive. It does not make up for all the turret plates Alfari got, so it is going to be TL overall up in gold on the turret game. And you can see they're still up 1,000 gold as a result.
Still, though, it's a very good macro call from TSM from the position that they were in. at the moment that they take the Dragon on bottom side and make the call to do the early swap, this is a very profitable and very good decision from TSM, swapping up to both guarantee yourself Rift Herald and the extra push and getting first turret bonus. Goes some way of trying to make up for that deficit that they were facing.
Good ult gets away. A couple of CCs as well. Good one by Alphari. Jumps to get away from Pulverize. The rest of it looked all right. Now Sword Art, yeah, burns the ult. He's going to get chased down by Hyper and now going to take a short route back. But a flash engaged by CoreJJ as a double stun. It's lost down. It's Sword Art flashless with a blast plant. He knew it was there and he got away, but the slow might be enough. Alphari's on the chase. Alphari is there for the double kill. Top div so far in game 1.
And it is Jensen who teleports behind them, cutting off the escape, Freak. Alphari burns the summoners off the bottom lane. He burns the ultimates, and all Jensen has to do is channel the teleport to cut off the escape, ushering Lost and Sword Art back into the waiting arms of Team Liquid. They are just blowing open this game now, slowly but surely, increasing this gold lead. All right, there's another look at the re-engage for CoreJJ. Makes it look so easy. Sword Art as well as Lost bundled themselves back through this Tri-Brush because they were scared of the teleport that they saw channeling. So immediate execution there from CoreJJ. Well done, and a big reward here for Team Liquid.
Good stuff so far. Nice 2,000 gold lead. Team Liquid picking up where they left off, which was strong lanes and doing really, really well. Alphari gigantic in top. Mid lane, there was a CS lead for Jensen. It was kind of back and forth a little bit there, but Jensen's come out ahead, no problem at all. And bot lane, all we saw out of Lost was taking an all-in where he lost both summoners on his own choice. So Team Liquid outclassing TSM and basically every single role. All you can really complain is, well, Spica's out farming Armayo, but who cares about 10 CS in a jungle? Honestly, Team Liquid as a team playing so much better.
It certainly looks to be the case here. Nice opener. Honestly, Freak, you get the feeling from this game for sure. Both teams playing more cautiously as it is the opener. They're on stage now, live venue. Let's see about this mid play, though. The Rift Herald actually will result in the tower dying here. So some extra rewards, a little bit delayed from that earlier macro call from TSM, where they push in, they get the first turret bonus. It actually also rewards them with the, evening up those turrets. So a decent amount of value there, even though Rift Herald number 2, not nearly as coveted as number 1.
Yeah, and I believe with Spica not having auto-attack the turret, even though he was in the Raptor camp, was not in range for local gold without dealing damage. That one's actually pretty tight. So only 250, I believe, the total earn from mid-turret going down. Not swinging the gold back as much as it maybe could have, but also all they could have really done based on game state, not laying any blame, just pointing out what had happened here. Next Dragon came up, though, in 18 seconds, and with a 2,500 gold lead for TL and the shops coming through, should feel very comfortable as Alphari really wants in, and Sword Art just doesn't have good ways out. He's not going to fight. Yeah, burns the ulti, still gets stunned up. He's flashless, but now as Orianna rejoins out of range for Hebat Pulverize, this Dragon is a freebie. Well played. Alphari has found ways to be everywhere his team needs him to be.
Honestly, in a game where not too many punches have been thrown, it seems just like every little bit of aggression from Alphari is just rewarded 10 times. He doesn't even have to throw a full punch. It's just a little tap here, scares him off. Okay, get more ultimates, get more objectives.
He's walking at him menacingly, all right? It's enough to scare people away. He's big. He's got 217 CS. He's got the most kills. He's got to be the richest man in this game. And it's a good pickup for Team Liquid. He's doing really well with the squad, and they're poised to keep doing well. Now, good job that there was a counterplay by TSM, though. They knew the losing Dragon. They put people topside. They got a turret back.
Freak, when we saw the champion select, we were definitely expecting, with the drafter from TSM, for them to try and make some early use of kill pressure, to try and make some early moves, but just has not been the case here. Team Liquid very happy stacking up to 2 dragons here, as well as getting the extra gold for themselves. Team fights. If we start to go over the excitement that's about to get in here, Freak, as we approach mid-game with 4 minutes left on the next dragon for Team Liquid. they actually have such a secure one. And you alluded to this in Champion Select. You know, their front line is extremely durable here. CoreJJ is one of the premier rel players in the league, and everybody by now is well accustomed to the power of the engage of this champion. But Alfari as well has been one of the best top laners at managing that rage bar. And the timing really does come in. So if you look for a comeback from the side of TSM, they want to try and pounce on Team Liquid while the Gnar bar is exhausted. Team Liquid actually in Fog of War with the control ward down are trying to go for the sneaky Baron. PoE walking over, has the ball to check.
TSM think they know the jungler is far away. The ball comes down, 5k health. I don't know if Hecarim can get in range in time. He's trying. The ghost is popped for Spica. Can they burst it fast enough? Spica can get in range. Spica can get the steal. Can he do it? Shockwave! And Spica can do it all! Baron goes to TSM.
They woke up, Freak! TSM is alive as soon as the Baron is under attack. Oh, here comes Spica. He does his job again. Ultimate in. Shockwave there for PoE to chunk it down.
This has got to be one of the only 0-kill Barons I've ever seen. High performance play, Kobe, break it down.
Well, Shockwave went off there from PoE. He did his part, full combo, trying to chunk it down. So even if Team Liquid try and stop DPS on the Baron, it's so close that Spica gets in there. 1 life traded for a Baron in this situation, Freak.
Seems good.
That is the all-time best deal from a losing position. Team Liquid kicking themselves a little bit there. And you always want to look at what you could have done to keep the enemy jungler out of it. You know, with this Hecarim speeding across mid lane, you've got to get your CC, your front line, out ahead of you. You have to be this buffer, the bouncer around the pit. Don't let him in to that exclusive club. That should have been Team Liquid bought and paid for Baron Pit Club. And yet, Spica walks right up, VIP, let me in, and they just let him right through.
They let him right through. Someone needed to fall back. Maybe CoreJJ walks out, goes for the stun. His flash was up. We know it was. We saw the timers, and ultimately, let in. That's going to be a letdown here for TL. The gold difference has now been completely nullified. The Red Bull Baron on for TSM. And hey, look, bot lane tier 2. 2-item Tristana. Yeah, good turret damage. Headbutt pulverized, maybe a bit much for Sword Art. Burns the Flash, still gonna die? Yeah, there were reinforcements, buddy, and it's gonna be the 4th kill of the game for Team Liquid. TSM still not on the board with a single champion kill.
They've got the Baron, but the Baron isn't doing a whole lot for him. 1 tower will be the reward thus far. CoreJJ and Jensen do find Huni.
All right, Huni gonna go for his biggest trade possible. Exhaust blocks most of the damage, and as Huni's been slowed down, pulled back for the ulti, goes back for the re-engage. Sterix pops, TP joins, just to make sure it's good enough. The nice shield comes across, still CC'd. And it's actually the stopwatch burned. Is Huni gonna get enough? No, not quite. Alfari saves his life. But now a tower dive, and finally, maybe. No, it's not gonna be a kill yet for TSM.
Tower, though.
Inhibitor turret, though, pretty valuable. 5-0 in kills, 5 turrets. You trade one for the other. The objective score seems fine for TSM, and just like that, they've now got more turrets than deaths.
Yeah, now the Baron's really paying off, Freak, because Team Liquid, they had to invest 3 people to take down Huni. That is an unironic moment where you get to type in all chat, gotta send 3 for me there for Huni. They burn a stopwatch as well, a teleport off of Alfari. His team can make use of his pressure because they have Baron. That is such a big, comeback moment there for TSM to actually even up the gold, despite being a 0-kill team still, Freak.
This is by far the best looking 0-5 I've seen in a while, and I mean, yeah, it's good stuff so far. Now, Dragon is up in 7 seconds, and TL have river control, but they no longer have the gold lead. TSM got to buy, and based on if they can be zoned out or not, Blue Trinket knows what's going on, but do they have the positioning? There is a flashless Sword Art. Is it going to be enough? Huni's still in mid. Looks like they are not willing to take the fight. You can see by the fact that Huni's going for the wave, they know they're not going to fight. They've been zoned out. Decent damage. Good stun. Huni on the flank is maybe not enough. Spica might try. I don't know if it's going to work, but now Jensen, he can be the target. He chose to run into the Renekton to get out, and he's punished for the play. It'll kill CoreJJ as well. How did he not see the man out of the corner of his eye? How did he not see the mini-map? But it's finally 2 kills for TSM, and it might be a 3rd if they can get any more chase down in. Not just yet. More slows from Alfari, but this base is very close to being cracked.
What the hell is he looking at, Freak? And what is going on with the comms? Is no one yelling at him? Don't run into the Renekton. Face first, Jensen. Big blunder here. It's going to cost them as TSM take the inhibitor off of this play. What?
I don't know, Kobe. The last time we saw TSM on stage, they were 0-6. This time, it stopped at 0-5, and they found a couple of kills. They're going to knock down the second inhibitor, and they're going to make an easy, clean getaway.
All right, looks like they can get out of it with their lives. I got a feel for Alfari here, okay? Deep teleport, flank will ensue. Is that Jensen on the teleport, though? Okay.
Jensen, you've tried this before, it did not work well. Jensen, you tried this before! The definition of insanity! TL might need a new mid laner, pick him up!
Nice twist at the end there. Honestly, though, this is boggling, mind-boggling, these calls from Team Liquid. You cannot say anything about a jungle swap in this series. Jensen's lost his damn mind, and TSM are punishing them for it. Honestly, I was going to say, I'm feeling sorry for Alfari. He's got to do everything for this team. He's like, you guys can't even take care of Huni. 2v1 on top side. He teleports up there. They lose out inhibitors. They lose out bases. He smashes his lane. This guy is trying to carry, and yet Team Liquid now with some big blunders on stage. They've got to clean it up if they want to get this victory. Soul Point is available. It comes up now every single dragon until TSM has something to say about it. 2 minutes, 50 seconds left on this Infernal Dragon. TSM, though, they've got to have confidence. They can now establish wards around this dragon beforehand. Previously, it's very difficult, you would say, to get through one of these corridors, past a Victor, Gravity Well, as well as a Gnar. Alfari, level 16, looking to charge up and threaten Gnar ultimate on any of those walls. But with these extra kills, with the 2 inhibitors as their reward for TSM, they can get the objectives first. They get the setup.
It's tough. You really can't give away Baron for free, but your time is obviously limited when the inhibitors are down. They can push into your base. So Team Liquid trying to stay in position. The gold difference is not too big. Spica spotted on the side. Armeo sees him. Not a lot of damage yet from the Victor, but Huni down to 1k health means the Baron is going to be tough to take. But look, now it's time to go for the base. We know mid and bot are pushing in, and
teleport.
Top inhibitor is an easy target.
It was just a joke, freak! Sleight of hand! Look over by Baron, now top is open. That thing will be gone. Huni's got teleport, or he could, okay, level 16, he's looking to come for it. TSM buying some time here. There's the teleport.
If this fight goes wrong, TSM outright win the game here off the play. Alfari's on the flank, gets away from Shockwave. Mega Gnar's available, has flash as well. That could be the hero play. CoreJJ goes in, they find Huni, the lockdown, and they're gonna kill him. 1 for 1 so far, but no, he won't finally die. 2 kills picked up. Finally, Alfari gets his first death of the game, and it's time for Lost to turn tail and run. Turrets were killed, but the base will stay alive. But there are supers hitting Nexus turrets. Someone does have to clear those out.
Team Liquid barely avert disaster here, freak. They keep their 3rd inhibitor alive. There's a giant trough of power once your 3rd inhibitor goes down. It's a multiplicative effect. You get 2 super minions down every single lane. That's why so often we talk about how ridiculously difficult it is to come back from 3 inhibitors down. And you see why TSM wanted to risk it all to get that last inhibitor. But Alfari comes in from behind. He buys enough time versus Lost and the front line to buy them time. They kill off the front line here. Team Liquid barely escaping for now.
Dragon in 35 seconds. TL know they can fight back, but the inhibitors are still dead. Waves are still flooding in. Jensen's in the bot lane catching waves. The rest of the team is in mid doing the same, but it means TSM have ward control. They've got wards in the jungle, they've got wards in the river, and they can just delay this Dragon Soul 5 more minutes. And I don't know if TL can easily step up. They're certainly going to try. Now Alfari's bot side building up the Rage Bar, does have teleport. Jensen's joined the team in mid. Can TL play it?
PoE has to have a better Shockwave if TSM want to win this one. He can't go for solo Shockwaves on Gnar behind them and whiff them.
Alfari's here, stunned, but he is Mega. Gonna Stride Breaker 4, does not burn the jump. Did not have flash to get a better target than that, so just gonna go for a slow. Not gonna land that one either, but now TSM just wants to kite back the Mega Gnar. Bottom inhibitor wave is pushing in. That's stacked up with a super, so TL have to start. They have to deal damage. This fight needs to end. Partial reset. Huni rooted in place, 1k health. CoreJJ finds 2. Smite goes through for Spica, but the team fight, what's it gonna look like? 1 for 1 so far. Armeo flashes away, stays alive. Headbutt's not gonna be enough. Re-engages a 3-man fear. And pulls 1 back, but a double kill for Tactical. Traded back in 3 for 3. There is Gale force big for Tactical. Finds the right time to go forward. The Dragon was taken, but the team fight is a +1. Time to go back to the base and catch the waves.
Baron will be the next decision here. Armeo's running straight for it. Team Liquid, can they use their extra person advantage? They've got 36 seconds on Alfari with the teleport ready, so he could join as soon as he revives. Jensen, meanwhile, teleport also ready. He's going to clear out these minion waves, then join the team at the Baron. This is extremely risky. Spica doesn't have ultimate, though, so he'd have to go in the front door if he wants to smite fight.
They cannot fight this one anymore. With the spot here, honestly, 2v3, you are never getting Baron like this. Armeo is not tanky enough to make it work. It's a nice try, but it's good diligence by TSM to say, hey, what if? Let's walk up, let's be safe, let's spot this. Okay, we're going to be all right here, we're out.
Good route there from Tactical. He Blade Caller, locks up Uni so they get the first kill. TSM, meanwhile, I gotta give props to Spica. He gets the Dragon, and look at this teamfight separation on this ult. He R's in and then E's back to isolate Alfari. Such good teamfight. Oh, spatial awareness there from Spica to bring back a losing team fight for them. Then, though, Team Liquid still get the extra kill as they turn and then execute on PoE. So a little bit of lack of presence of mind and team fight presence there from PoE after Spica had just had a really good play in the team fight to give Team Liquid back another kill. And right back to up in the air here, Freak. All the inhibitors have respawned for Team Liquid. 3 minutes, 15 seconds left on the Dragon. Baron still available. It is a little bit more open with the Infernal Rift here, so there are a few more avenues to try and get past here, but TSM fully locked down the vision.
Yeah, thanks to Scuttle, though, there's no easy way to sneak it in without getting all the way back around and blast planning in. Nice pickup there. Powerful gets the blue buff. In the last fight, by the way, Kobe, he ulted just Core JJ, claimed the kill on support, but didn't have it for the rest of the team fight on a support that was likely already dead. So TL so far playing well around that ultimate. Midwave cleared back and forth yet again. There's only a couple turrets left, literally 2 inside of TL's base. They've only killed 2 themselves, by the way. They have been unable to push into TSM's base. The gold difference still only 600. Dragon Soul still 2.5 away. Could be the next one for Team Liquid. It's still on a knife's edge. TSM knocking down the wards yet again. They want to own this river still.
All right, this is going to be the big fight. They've got everything ready here. Zonya's on Jensen, level 18 now. The first solo laner to get there can have huge difference as far as the team fight ensuing at Baron. So TSM aren't forcing it. They're just kind of holding off, buying time, waiting for a mistake here from Team Liquid. You see Huni on the bottom side of your map. He now reaches that level 18 point, split pushing here for TSM on the exposed inhibitors, bottom side of the map, furthest away from Baron to draw Team Liquid in both directions.
Looks like he wants to get ready for the TP again. Alfari finally kills that ward to get rid of some of the vision there. An aggressive one by TSM, actually. Maybe not going to get punished. They don't know this, but they could actually maybe kill the control ward off in that brush because TL has mostly fallen back. They've sent Tactical not to clear the bottom wave. That's going to still stack up against them. Probably won't kill the inhibitor by itself, but it is a lot of pressure. They know no one's answering bot. They know the TSM would just start Baron if it happened and burn a free TP advantage. So TL can't do that just yet. The ward's still fighting back and forth. TSM continuing to just contain them into Fog of War. And as the dance continues, we are now 1 minute, 10 seconds away from Dragon. And as these become simultaneous, TL can kind of take either trade and it's comfortable. It's either Soul for Baron or Baron for a random Dragon, and either one feels okay. We'll see, though. TL able to push down mid first, but only for a second as TSM answers back. Decent damage on Spica, not going to matter.
All right, 55 seconds left on that Dragon, drawing to the other side of the map. You see, minions are going to be on the bottom inhibitor of Team Liquid. If we can get a POV of those pop up to see if there's enough minions to actually get damage on that inhibitor, looks like the reinforcements from Team Liquid can take it into control. Jensen heads down there. They still have teleport ready. Both teams with both teleports should mean that they can play their side waves very cautiously here, not having to commit. We do have very even inventories as well across the board on all positions here. So it is going to come down to the use. Multiple turbo chem tanks looking for this engage here. Summoners also available. Going to be about this vision setup. Here comes the Dragon.
Nearly equal levels to Power View, just one behind Jensen. That's the only thing I saw that was not congruent across these teams. Team Liquid going to try to take over bottom river. Mid lane going to be fought over again. Jensen very easy with the Death Ray. Zap most of the minions down. It one-shots casters. Some help as well from Tactical as he's now level 18. Beats lost to that mark. So another level advantage briefly for TL. Is that going to matter?
They've got the inside.
Full rage bar, only 2,000 health though. As you mentioned, TL does have inside track now. They own the river, and they're going to start dragging again. This would be Soul. Spica would have to steal.
Mega.
Vision, Smite, nice pickup there by Tactical. Now the fight continues, huge! Meganar, Alfari, 1v9 in this game, finds the first 2 kills, and it's gonna be the third, it's gonna be the fourth, and TSM stood no chance. Team Liquid with the Bud Light Ace, the Dragon Soul, and the push towards the base.
And that's gonna be TL finally inside the TSM base. They made a few people have a couple of heart palpitations there with some of the mid-game plays from Jensen, but Alfari and Tactical, they come up big at this Dragon fight. Tactical getting the last hit on the Dragon. Alfari with the Team 5 victory for Team Liquid, and they open up with the victory.
Absolutely huge plays from Alfari this game. He dominated his lane. He dominated every team fight he was in. And game 1 goes to Team Liquid.
Whew. All right, you can definitely see some of the stage jitters here as they get accustomed to playing outside in the sun with all of the extra pressure that comes with it. Team Liquid eventually do get that win. Honestly, I felt like, without these mid-game throws from Team Liquid, you would come out of this game number 1 and say, overwhelming support for Team Liquid now, right? Really strong opening showing here. TSM, thankfully for them, I think they do get a bit of a morale boost from some of the life that they got there later on, winning some of those team fights, getting those picks onto Jensen. So looking forward into this series, it's about TSM looking at their early game so they don't start out with this deficit that they have to work back from versus Team Liquid. And then knowing that even if they do get behind, look for that opportunity, that comeback play, that pick that they can try and actually make this series competitive.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of the TSM plans didn't do very much. We had a lot of Alistair roams. We know Swordart is good at them, but none of them happened to matter. You just couldn't find his target. And the other side of it was the top lane pick, where you opted into playing Renekton into Gnar with Hecarim, who can gank it. I mean, anything past 3 really is fine. And never took the opportunity. If he did 5 camp in a top lane, for example, just red buff in a gank, there were no wards yet. That actually was at least a burn flash, maybe a kill with Ghost, because he was going to be there first. There was no vision. You can guess on when he wards, sure, but that was actually gankable. We never saw top be attacked. Gnar Renekton was an island, and that is not an island TSM wants to be on. It's a bad island. You're stuck there for a while, and it ends with 3 turret plates going down. So I do want to see those things kind of get fixed up.
Yeah, I will say, just small thing, is that Gnar was Mega during that small transition period that you're looking for, so it's more difficult to try and pull that off. But it's got to be looked at here. If you're going to draft some of these lanes there, you need to take advantage of some of that aggression. I want to see more action here. And thankfully, it's a best-of-5 series, so we're going to get it.
We're going to get it. Team Liquid are the lead horse in this race as they land the first blow in our best-of-5 series. Now, we are stepping away, but when we return, the State Farm Analyst Desk will be breaking down the action in the Greek Theater. We'll see you there.
They've got to get the Mountain Drake here if they want to have any chance of being able to salvage this game, but no! It's stolen away at the last moment with a beautiful smite to end this game. GG, well played! It all comes down to this one last dragon fight to call the whole game. Boom, look at the damage on the wombo combo. All 5 enemy players down. GG!
I think it's going to be a 3-1 for Team Liquid. I think it's going to be a rematch of the other previous match, C9 versus Team Liquid finals. It's going to come with a few conditions. Alphari's going to have to not be Intfari. Jensen's going to have to not pick Ari. And Tactical's going to have full control of his powers. It seems like he's got some powers, but he doesn't fully understand them yet. It's going to be all on his shoulders. And Jensen, of course. No more Ari, please. That's it. Hope they can win.
Well, thank you to both Sneaky and Meteos for their incredible insights around this series. Hey, and so far, to his prediction of a 3-1, things are looking good. With Team Liquid taking the first game here in our best-of-5 series. That said, it did not come, in any sense of the word, in the cleanest fashion, Raz. And I do want to talk real briefly, right off the top, about the cards that each of these teams came to the table with, taking a look at draft.
Yeah, the draft for me was already like an eye popper because I didn't expect the Gnar to come back, right? I thought we left that in the previous series. I at least liked the Jace ban, but my thing is, well, why don't you just go for a Karma pick? It doesn't have to be on your 1-2 on red side. You can hold it on your 3 and keep it as a flex. Go a jungle AD carry in your 1-2. But then we're seeing them opt into a Renekton, and now Team Liquid saying, okay, fine. You now have double melee, that bruiser that has like short range that wants to dive into you, and we can just round out our draft. And it makes it, think of it this way. You're the Renekton, you want to go into Gnar lane, you're falling behind. You want to look for a team fight, Victor, Xayah, like so much that you're fighting into that if you don't just get that perfect flank and deletion, you're useless. So I actually just, not only do I hate the Gnar, but I really despise the Renekton going into it.
I actually feel a little bit differently. I don't mind the Gnar because as we talked about in the countdown, Huni does have a pretty big champ pool, but he likes to skew Gnar. He really, really favors Gnar. And taking the Gnar away, we know he's not going to pop out with a hard counter like the Aurelia. So he picks the Renekton. I think it was a really bad pick. I agree with Raz there. And also, they don't have a pick to supplement the Renekton in Hecarim. Right? When you have Udyr into a Hecarim matchup, Udyr's going to have the early game control 5 out of 5 times. So I really dislike the Renekton pick, but I actually really love the Udyr pick because we talked earlier about the fact that Armeo, he's not as experienced with the team. We want him to be on an easy autopilot jungler, and Udyr is exactly that. And I think that's a big reason why the early game didn't spin out of control for TL.
It's game 1. I think if you're in game 1, you should be more willing to play something that you like that is risky. Let's say if you go for a Karma pick, you haven't played it all, much during your scrim period throughout the week, then just try it out. It should work theoretically. If it doesn't, you can go back to what you've been playing on stage with the Renekton, right? It's one of those things where you should trust yourself to be able to execute. Seems like it's TSM going back to what I think is a very, very tunnel-centric style.
Now, Raz didn't like the Renekton so much into the Gnar, but we heard Sneaky say in his prediction, if Team Liquid's going to win, it's going to take Alphari in his carry form and not his Intfari form, as he said. And we saw that here with an incredible individual performance just in lane. CSD, climbing rather quickly, and a lot of focus from TSM on trying to divert that or at least attack the lane.
Right. I think a lot of players right now have a lot of nerves and pressure coming into the game. They haven't played on stage in quite a while. There isn't a crowd here, but you still feel the pressure because you're not playing at home or you're comfortable on. We definitely see it in their plays. However, I like the first pick Gnar because it's just kind of saying, hey, we saw what you did last week against 100 Thieves. We're going to do it to you. What do you got? You're going to eagle that top laner? I'm going to eagle your top laner. So...
Yeah, I mean, again, we saw TSM with a lot of focus in trying to attack the top side. They'll do it very early on. Primal bringing all 5 members, and then again, to not much avail.
Yeah, and I think this felt a little bit desperate to me. I mean, if you look at the map, we have Orianna leaving lane, clearly signaling that, look, something's happening top, but the setup for the gank is not particularly good because the wave has yet to crash. He has Mega Gnar coming up, and you know that TL support is not on the map either. So I think this is like a pretty high risk play for TSM. I do like that they backed off, but here again, they go to attack Alphari. Alphari's level 12. He's a full level up on both these guys. He could arguably just 1v2 them. He has his stride breaker. So I think there were 2 instances here where TSM, it felt like they were starting to panic because Alphari was getting more and more ahead top. And this goes back to the draft because as Raz said, when you're picking Renekton, you're putting yourself in these positions where you're on the back foot.
And it goes to some of those nerves maybe that I was talking about on the stage. We heard the casters talking about it as well. Not the cleanest, but remember, this is the first time any of these players are playing on stage in over a year's time. But here it is, the biggest play in the game perhaps for TSM. Team Liquid trying a Baron out of vision.
Well.
And yet again, it's going to be Spica coming cross map for the save.
What do we have here? Because I was liking the idea, but when you start seeing Spica come through, looking for the contest.
Abort!
My goodness! It's like you're just going through the past, like visions of what's happened before. Spica constantly looking for these smite steals. So like, what I like the idea initially from Team Liquid, but then when you start to see Spica roll up, take some time. You have the vision on the Baron. Like you can try and bait him to come into the pit, but when you take it below 2k HP, then anything goes. That's what I didn't like.
Yeah, and Spica can't keep getting away with this, right? This is a situation where all the cards were in TL's hands. They could have just backed off. They saw him coming from a mile away.
I think that smite wasn't actually a 50-50. I've watched that a couple times now. I want to say that's actually 70 in favor of Armeo. The Hecarim came in at like 1800 HP at the Orianna. Hecarim ulti plus Orianna ulti is not 1,000+ damage. Armeo basically smited the moment Hecarim came in. That's why Spica was able to smite second. So I'm pretty sure that was an easier Baron for Armeo to take than Spica. But it's pressure, first game. I don't know what's going on, but it's a good call.
I mean, it was the Baron pickup here that ultimately gave TSM full control of the game. And while we saw picks happening across the map and the kills going in favor of Team Liquid, it was in fact TSM that was taking control of the map and ultimately taking both inhibitors down.
Yeah, and taking a look at a fight like this, just keep your eyes on Jensen because Team Liquid has a huge lead. Casters called it out here. You already saw Renekton on the wave, walks into it, ends up dying there. I'm usually okay if you end up making this blunder because you'll still go back to base. Like you'll defend the play. But then the dominoes start going through. Okay, they're on the map for too long. Maybe we can make a play on them. I have TP behind them. I'm a victor. And your team can't follow up. So like, it was basically just a straight downfall where Team Liquid, and this is TSM by the way, off the first death. Off the first death, they get inhibitor topside, they get inhibitor on the bot, and then they're rolling up, and this is when the TP starts channeling up from the Victor. And you have to be able to protect yourselves. That's why I usually love this from top laners, bruisers, and all that. But in this case, easy to collapse on them.
Well, and this is a scary thing, at least at this point in the game, because, we talked about the veteran status of a number of the players on both of these squads. And Jensen is a player that you expect to see making plays, yes, but not necessarily ones that are, are egregious errors like that one, and almost very potentially throwing the first game of the series.
So I figured it out, actually. So earlier I said Armeo needs veterans to lead him into victory. He now can play as best or as worst as he wants because he saw what Jensen did last
Oh, it's it removes the pressure.
My mid laner can int like that, I'm allowed to int as well. So it's actually like a mental game from Jensen. It's like 200 IQ, honestly.
Yeah, amazing leadership from Jensen.
Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense now. But again, it all looks bad for Team Liquid up to that point. You're ready to give the game over to TSM, and yet they don't let up. They still have Dragon as a win condition, Raz, and they are going to play around that.
And this is what I love about Team Liquid. When these errors do happen, they can go back to the basics, the fundamentals, the control that they had on this objective. This is tactical, by the way, having a great team fight. Being able to confirm the Dragon, getting Soul, amazing team fight, and then Alfari having a huge Mega Gnar to cap it off. Great team fighting, and this is what you pay it for. Alfari with a big one.
All right, well, the players are making their way back up to the booths, and so I think it's natural that we start talking about what should happen or change while heading towards Game 2. TSM was very much in the driver's seat in that one, Primal, and yet it slipped through their fingers. They are going to blue side. We have no substitutions. What's the answer?
Yeah, so I think first of all, they need to not self-counterpick. When they're going for top matches where Alfari can just completely dominate and there's no way to jungle support. But what I actually want to know is if these guys want to get on my ship, it's a TL ship. We have a lot of space, not too great seats.
Still very much afloat.
We have seats on the space on the poop deck.
Okay.
Be on the poop deck.
All right.
You want me to come
you
back?
You can stay there for a little bit.
Primal.
Yeah, okay.
Come on now.
Okay.
Look, it took some time for the Titanic to sink first. People were confident.
Okay.
People were having parties on that ship.
All right.
And then it went to Antarctica. And then it went out
your
there.
last chance. I'm out.
All right.
Out.
There it is. All aboard, all aboard. The call has been made. Well, then my question to the two of you is, and maybe I'll come to you first. Again, still fighting for the side of TSM or arguing for the side of TSM. When that game did feel like it was within your grasp, do you change much? You are on blue side, so different priority in draft?
Right. Let's be honest here. They had almost 3 hits down at the same time. They had a Baron. They had a lot of objectives. They had the early... Okay, they didn't have the early game lead, but they had the Baron, and they got a lot of objectives off of that. It looked good for them, and then they took a team fight where they literally just got crushed by CoreJJ and Alfari. Those two literally got a 3-man ulti on both of them. That happens times, you know? You're allowed 1 team fight loss throughout the series. I almost wanted to jump ship, I'm going to be honest, but if they fix the draft, I'll stay on the ship.
All right, I got to be honest. Okay. I got to be honest. I was pride on the line. I am jumping ship.
Oh! Welcome aboard,
I was
Okay.
flying a little early.
There it is, the first flip-flop of the
Where's your
finals
guys' commitment at? What's wrong with you?
And it's going to Raz. Well, despite missing Santorin, Team Liquid are staying strong in this best-of-5 fight for their playoff lives. We'll, of course, see if TSM can tie things up when we get into Game 2 right after this.
I grew up in Sydney, Australia. So much of my upbringing has been around eating food that my grandfather, who is from Malaysia, brought to his family. If I had to pick a favorite food, probably any kind of fried rice. I obviously don't look particularly Chinese, and I'm only 1/4 Chinese, but even though it's not an obvious part of who I am, it is something that's always been a part of me. On the internet, I'm known as Pastry Time, and I often get asked, how on earth did I get this name? Before I started playing League of Legends, I was playing a different game, and at that time in the game, the conjured food was mana strudel. So when I went to make an ID in League of Legends, Pastry Time just popped into my head, and that's been my name ever since. Cooking and eating has always been a big part of my life, whether it's something as simple and homey as fried rice, or something as decadent and luxurious as a pastry.
But it's not going to be enough. 16-3, the Bud Light Ace. Evil Geniuses